So sports, it's just not my thing. I could never get excited about any local teams in my area, and I never get the big hype around, the really big games that go on. How many goals did Jeremy Lin score at the Super Bowl? I don't even know. But when a lot of my peers were applying to university and college, the kind that really put a lot of stress on how good the football team are, or how good is the basketball team, or how good is the athletics program, and I really couldn't care less. So when I made a decision to go to UCI, and we didn't have a football team, yes. I didn't have to deal with the bells and whistles of the rallies and the noises or anything. I could stay in my dorm room and study quietly. But there was something else at UCI that engaged me, something that I never would have expected, and that's something called esports. So esports stands for electronic sports, or professional competitive gaming. It's just one of many terms you can use to describe it. And essentially what it aims to do is to take the video game and make it a spectator sport. So you can think of esports like, just take a traditional sport, replace the game with a video or computer game, replace the professional athlete with a professional gamer, and replace the thousands of fans all around the world with, esports still has thousands of fans all around the world. Click. There we go. Yeah, so this was at a local event here, and everyone's holding up their signs cheering on their favorite player, just like in any sports event. And just like traditional sports, esports has, its celebrities. It has its heroes, it has its villains, it has the people you love, the people you love to hate, it has the rivalries, it has everything that makes sports so amazingly engaging, and it's just on a virtual battlefield. So to be an esports game or competitive game, you can't just take any game and make it a competitive platform. You can't take Super Mario Brothers. Who's going to watch people compete in Super Mario Brothers? That doesn't make any sense at all. You need a game that has a good multiplayer, that has a skill differential, so that means you could look at someone playing the game and say, oh, he's playing good, or he's playing like a rookie. And the game needs to be fun, of course. And of course, you need a really good community around the game. So one of my favorite games in esports is called StarCraft. Oh, awesome, yeah! For the swarm. All right, anyway, so StarCraft is a real-time strategy game that revolves around a conflict in space between 3 alien races, and one of those races includes humans. So how I would play StarCraft is I would select one race I want to play. Let's say I want to be Zerg, and my friend wants to play the dirty, scummy, like less than superior Terrans, and we would be matched 1 versus 1 online. And we would start with a base, we would gather resources, raise an army, and try to destroy each other. So it's like a war simulator game. A lot of people compare StarCraft to kind of like chess or Go because there's a lot of deep strategy that goes on with it. But to make that comparison, you kind of need to be playing chess and moving all your pieces at the same time because everything's happening in real time. There's no time to stop and think about your actions. And that's what kind of makes this game so deep and interesting for so many people to play in. All right, so alongside StarCraft, there are a lot of different game genres that can serve as competitive platforms, one of which is Call of Duty or Counter-Strike or Halo, any first-person shooter kind of games. And what's so cool about this whole variety of genre of games is that it garners different kinds of players and audiences. Like there are completely different cultures around these games. So for instance, with the first-person shooter, it's adrenaline-based, run-and-gun shooting, Twitch-based action. And of course, you probably have that Call of Duty fan or that Halo fan who's like so in your face after he teabags you and stuff, and like, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And then he's like, yeah, in your face, totally. I don't play Halo, so like Laser Sword or something. It's a really like jock-like culture, right? It's almost like almost similar to like traditional jock-like sports, and that the same thing comes out in competitive competitions. With games like Street Fighter, it's so embedded, it's so cool, it's so embedded in arcade culture, almost like a street urban kind of culture with a lot of hype, a lot of excitement, a lot of emotion. But it's cool to see how this community is trying to adapt in a world that's becoming more and more console. Like people don't have to go to arcades to play games anymore. And that's kind of where this fighting game community is currently at the moment. So StarCraft is a bit different than these two games because it's like a gentleman's game. You shake hands with people before you play. If you meet them in real life. You say good game at the end of the game if you're not being rude. And there's a lot of interest in the intellect and the strategy and the cerebral aspect that goes into the game. So there's a lot of interest in kind of just, well, obviously the strategy aspect. So in South Korea, StarCraft is absolutely huge. It's a multi-million-dollar industry. There are a variety of games in South Korea that have reached this level of almost a national sport. And in South Korea, you have professional gamers who are on professional teams, who are sponsored by huge telecommunication companies. It's just wild over there. And how much these pro gamers make? On the tip-top pro gamers making on the order of hundreds of thousands of dollars in terms of salaries, prize money, and sponsorships, just like regular athletes. So pretty cool. Esports has just gotten really popular in the West with the release of StarCraft 2. As you can see, StarCraft has kind of had a really nice following in the Western scene. And with the release of StarCraft 2, everyone kind of got back into it. So this is a picture from a competitive gaming event where if you stand on the main stage, you literally see like waves of people, waves of nerds, if you will, expand for miles. And before you would go to a competition and you would just be surrounded by a few dozen or a few hundred people. Now it's literally thousands of people packing convention halls to watch their favorite pro gamer compete. But what makes StarCraft even more unique is kind of the impact it's had on people's lives. So StarCraft 1, it's been around for such a long time. It's like 10 years time. It was released in 1998, so it was over 10 years time. And people have just kept playing the game. It's just good, it's just fun, it's easy to get into. And a 10-year-old game, you play that through high school, you play that through college, you play that when you get a job, and you play that when you settle down and have a family. So, I was at the StarCraft 2 midnight release party here in Irvine, and I saw a dad walk in with his kid, and he introduced him to, the voice actors who were there signing the copies, and that's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it, that video games now are becoming a pastime. They're things that we do that shape us, that make us who we are, and we want to pass those on to the next generation. Think about the fact that the next generation will grow up in a world with grow up in a world where we've always played games. It's just something we do. Do you call someone who goes to the movie a movieer? Maybe the word gamer in the next few years would just be like, why are you calling me that? Of course I play games. So with that, my first year at UCI, it was the inaugural year for something known as the Collegiate Star League. Essentially, that's the NCAA for StarCraft. So it started out as a show match between two StarCraft clubs, Princeton and MIT. And one friendly show match became like, oh my God, 44 schools are signing up to do the same thing. And then when the website's established, 144 schools want to sign up. And then, with CSL Season 5, we had up to 320 schools register. Think about that. That's 320 StarCraft university teams. I'm an Uber nerd, but wow. Seriously, this is absolute insanity that so many people share the same passion for competitive games all across North America. So with all of this, after running a few successful seasons, we decided to bring the competition offline. So after a few months of planning, myself, fellow CSL admins, and a ton of volunteers, or I like to call them esports heroes, we hosted an esports event here at UC Irvine. And essentially what it aimed to do is to bring the pro gaming experience, the esports experience here to campus to let the students have fun. And you'd be surprised, our StarCraft team is really awesome. So if anyone gives you crap about how we don't have a football team, just tell them our StarCraft team can take them any day. Any day. That's right, nerds. All right. So unfortunately, Irvine only took the semifinals in this. Davis took the whole thing. It helps to have a lot of pro gamers on your team, I guess. So, and we broadcasted this live online. If any of you are StarCraft fans, you're familiar with live video streaming. And up to 5,000 viewers were watching this concurrently, not just college students, but people who were just interested in the collegiate esports scene. And we had over 250,000 unique views over the entire weekend. But that's just all statistics. That's numerical. What really mattered through the weekend is we made moments like this happen for people. Look how intense this guy is. Look how he's just so into it. And this game, this literally is go big or go home. Because they lose this game, it's a 10-hour drive back. They lost. So the way the format worked is they all came down to this game, and that's his entire team behind him. This is an entire support system he has behind him. This is someone who's invested so much time and so much effort into connecting people around him for the love of the game and making himself better at the game as well. I mean, something like this, it made everything worth it. It made the 3 weeks of planning, it made the hell, everything before the event worth it. To see people who share the same passion as I did, to create something that has never, ever been done before. And I never would have guessed that this kind of thing would happen at this campus, let alone me be the person to help organize it along with countless other volunteers. I mean, you know, coming into UCI, I'm as stereotypical as you get. Like, okay, let's be real, guys. Asian American, I came in as a bio major, and like 4 years down the line, if you would have told me my hobby, staying up 3 a.m. to watch South Korean professional gamers, turns into hosting these kind of events at Irvine, it's absolute insanity. So, I mean, esports is unique in the end because it can't exist without the technology we have today. But what makes it so unique is the way it brings us all together. Well, what makes it not unique, actually, is the way it brings us all together. The way that people can express themselves as, hey, this is something that I actually do care about. It's not a waste of time, mom and dad. It's not a waste. You know, it inspires us to do productive things. It inspires us to create and inspires us to connect with people we would have never met otherwise. So there's a lot of talk in the community about esports, you know, getting to the mainstream, you know, breaking out, being on TV. But that could happen, or it could just, you know, it could flatline. It could just go back to, you know, the underground communities online. But in either case, it doesn't matter, because what really matters is how this game and how this community and how people around us have impacted us and shared our passions and just, you know, just let us know that it's worthwhile to go 100% in anything you believe in, no matter what other people say. And, you know, my one dream, my one goal out of all of this is that the next generation of people who apply to college, I hope they look at the StarCraft team instead of the football team. Thank you.